Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.
Welcome to a new deep dive. Today, we're peeling back the layers on a really interesting case study in corporate performance. We've got some recent earnings reports, some market analysis you shared.
Yeah, that's right.
Our mission is basically to cut through all those numbers and pull out the insights. We're focusing on Fabrinet today, looking at their latest results, their future prospects, what surprised us, what's consistent, and what analysts are watching.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how these reports, well, when you put them together with the broader industry trends and some of these analytical tools, they really start to paint a much clearer picture for investors, obviously, but also for anyone just curious about how these tech manufacturing companies are doing right now.
Right.
We want to help you understand not just the what, but maybe more importantly, the why it matters.
Okay, let's jump right into Fabrinet then. FN is the ticker. They assemble optical, electromechanical, electronic devices. Pretty key stuff.
Core components.
And they just released their Q4 earnings for June 2025. The numbers are where they're interesting. They reported earnings of $2.65 per share. Now, that actually beat the Zacks consensus estimate, which was $2.64.
Just barely.
Yeah, a modest beat, okay?
Yeah.
Plus 0.38%. A beat's a beat, though, right?
Okay.
And for context, a year ago, they were at $2.41 per share. So growth there.
So the question that raises is, how consistent is this performance? Is this just a one-off? And looking back, it really isn't. The quarter before this one, Fabrinet had an earnings surprise of plus 2.02%.
Oh, okay. Bigger.
Yeah, they posted $2.52 per share when the expectation was $2.47. And actually, over the last 4 quarters, the company has surpassed consensus EPS estimates 3 times.
3 out of 4. That's pretty good. It suggests something, right? Like maybe they manage expectations well, or they just consistently deliver.
It suggests strong operational discipline, I think. Consistently hitting or slightly exceeding targets, even if the margin seems small sometimes, it builds a lot of credibility over time.
Okay. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting for me, the revenue side. For this same quarter, June 2025, Fabrinet posted revenues of $900.69 million. That surpassed the Zacks estimate by 3.01%. That's a pretty solid beat.
That is significant, yeah. Especially compared to a year ago. What was it then?
$753.26 million a year ago. So quite a jump.
Wow. Okay.
And get this.
Yeah.
The company has topped consensus revenue estimates 4 times over the last 4 quarters. Every single one.
4 for 4 on revenue. Okay, now that's a pattern.
Right.
Yeah, if you connect that to the bigger picture, it speaks to consistent outperformance against what analysts are expecting, very strong momentum. And you see it reflected in the stock price, too. Fabrinet shares, you mentioned this earlier, they've added about 50% since the start of the year.
50%.
Yeah, which just blows away the S&P 500's gain of, what, like 9.7%?
Yeah, roughly. So investors are clearly noticing this outperformance.
Absolutely. They're rewarding that consistency and growth.
So, okay, great track record. But the million-dollar question for investors, and for you listening, always, what's next? Past performance is great, but
sustainability, right?
the sources highlighted that the stock's immediate price movement really depends on management's commentary on the earnings call.
That's true. The commentary provides color and forward guidance. But there's something else, too, something quite interesting. There's this fascinating correlation between near-term stock movements and the trends in earnings estimate revisions.
Ah, the revisions, okay.
Yeah, empirical research shows a really strong link. When analysts start bumping up their estimates before the report, it's often a very positive sign.
And what was the trend for Fabrinet before this release?
It was favorable, definitely favorable. Analysts were already getting more optimistic.
Okay.
And that translates into their current status, which is a Zacks rank #2 buy.
A buy rating, so suggesting shares are expected to outperform the market near term.
That's exactly what it suggests, based on those positive estimate revisions and the underlying earnings strength.
Okay, so looking forward then, what are the actual numbers analysts are putting out there? The current consensus EPS estimate for the coming quarter is $2.77. And that's on revenues expected around $919.75 million. So, continued growth expected there.
Yeah, sequential growth on both top and bottom lines.
And for the current fiscal year, the estimates are 11.94 cents in EPS on $3.95 billion in revenues. Pretty hefty numbers.
They are, but, it raises an important question about the broader context. A company doesn't operate in a vacuum, right?
True. The industry matters.
Hugely. The outlook for the industry itself can really impact stock performance, sometimes even more than company specifics. Fabrinet is in the ZACS Electronics miscellaneous components industry.
Okay, and how's that industry doing?
Well, right now it's in the top 39% of over 250 ZACS industries, so pretty strong positioning.
Top 39%. How much does that ranking matter, really?
Quite a bit, actually. Our research consistently shows that the top 50% of ZACS-ranked industries outperform the bottom 50% by a factor of more than 2 to 1.
Wow, 2 to 1.
Yeah. So being in a well-ranked industry provides a kind of tailwind. It adds another layer, a positive one, to Fabrinet's outlook. They're not just doing well individually, they're kind of riding a favorable wave.
That makes sense. A good company in a good industry is often the best combo.
Precisely. Of course, you always have to watch for potential headwinds, broader economic shifts, supply chain issues, specific demand changes for their components. But right now, the industry backdrop looks supportive.
Right. And just to give you, our listener, a bit more context on this sector, there's another stock from the same industry, OSI Systems, ticker OSIS. They make things like airport security scanners.
Ah, yes, OSIS. Different niche, but same broad category.
Exactly. They're set to report their results for the quarter ended June 2025 on August 21st. Analysts expect them to post quarterly earnings of $3.19 per share. That's a year-over-year change of plus 12.3%.
Solid growth expected there, too.
Yeah, and revenues expected around $493.43 million, which is up about 2.6% from the year-ago quarter.
So decent growth, though maybe not quite the explosive revenue jump Fabrinet showed this quarter.
Right. It'll be really interesting, though, to see how their results compare, see if those positive industry trends are reflected there, too.
Definitely one to watch to get a broader feel for the sector's health.
Okay, so we've really taken a deep dive today into Fabrinet, looked at their strong performance, that consistent beat pattern.
Yeah, the revenue strength was particularly notable.
And the favorable analyst outlook, plus that promising industry ranking. We also touched on a peer company, OSIS, to keep an eye on.
And hopefully understanding how these different pieces connect, the individual company surprises, the estimate revisions, the broader industry performance. Hopefully that helps sharpen your perspective on what's driving market trends right now. It's not just one number, it's the whole story.
Absolutely. And for you, our listener, here's maybe a final thought to chew on. We talked about Fabrinet's operational discipline, how they seem to consistently meet or beat expectations, even if sometimes by small margins on the EPS side. How much do you think that kind of predictability, that reliability, becomes a competitive advantage, especially in a, pretty volatile market?
That's a great question. Consistency can be undervalued sometimes.
Yeah, and maybe think about what other factors, beyond just the numbers we discussed, what non-financial things might signal that kind of underlying stability and maybe even strategic foresight in a company, something to mull over.
Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.